Welcome to this unit on artificial intelligence and data protection laws. By the end of this unit, you will be able to summarize data protection laws and policies relating to AI and health. Data protection laws. Data protection laws are rights-based approaches. They provide standards for regulating data processing that protect the right to privacy of individuals and establish obligations for data controllers and processors. Data protection laws also increasingly recognize that people have the right not to be subject to decisions guided solely by automated processes. More than 100 countries have enacted data protection laws. Well-known data protection laws include the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in the USA, enacted in 1996. It protects the privacy and security of health data. Some standards and guidelines are designed specifically to manage the use of personal data for AI. For example, the Ibero-American Data Protection Network has issued general recommendations for the processing of personal data in artificial intelligence and guidelines for compliance with the principles and rights that govern the protection of personal data in AI projects. Laws and policies related to health data. Several laws and policies govern the collection, processing, analysis, transfer, and use of health data. For example, the Council of Europe's Committee of Ministers issued a recommendation to member states on the protection of health-related data in 2019. The African Union's Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection requires personal data involving genetic information and health research to be processed only with the authorization of the National Data Protection Authority through the Personal Data Protection Guidelines for Africa. Africa's digital transformation strategy encourages African Union member states to have adequate regulation, particularly around data governance and digital platforms, to ensure that trust is preserved in the digitalization. In February 2021, the African Academy of Sciences and the African Union Development Agency released recommendations for data and biospecimen governance in Africa. The intention is to promote a participant-centered approach to research involving human participants, while fostering ethical research practices on the continent and providing guidelines for governance. Laws that govern the transfer of data among countries include those defined in trade agreements, intellectual property rules for the ownership of data, and the role of competition law and policy related to the accumulation and control of data, including health data. We will look at these laws in more detail later in this course. You have now completed Unit 2 of Module 2, Laws, Policies, and Principles. In the next unit, we will look at principles for using AI in health.